The scent of myrrh and burning cypress clawed at my throat. I stood, a statue carved from grief and disbelief among the wailing throngs, my eyes fixed on the pyre where Caesar, my Caesar, lay. The roar of the crowd, a beast with 1,000 heads, rose and fell with Mark Antony's words. He stood there, magnificent and terrible, holding Rome in the palm of his hand, and I, Calpurnia, could only watch, a silent witness to the unraveling of everything. My mind, a frantic loom, wove together with the threads of the past few days. The dreams. Oh, the dreams, the crumbling statue, the blood, the omens that shrieked of death. I had pleaded. I had begged him not to go to the Senate that day. His laughter, warm and dismissive, still echoed in my ears. Calpurnia, my dear, these are but women's fears. Women's fears, indeed. Now my fears wore a grim mask of reality. The murder. It was not just a dagger thrust, but a tearing of the very fabric of Rome. Brutus, his beloved Brutus among them. The most honorable men they called themselves. Honorable. To stab a friend, a leader, a godlike figure in the name of liberty? What liberty was this that stained the Senate floor with the blood of its greatest son? It was not liberty they craved, but power. A lust for control that had festered in the shadows of Caesar's triumphs. Politics. It was a viper's nest, and I, a dove caught within its coils. Caesar had tried to tame it, to bring order to the chaos, but Rome, it seemed, preferred its chaos. Every whisper, every glance, every handshake was a calculated move, a gambit in a deadly game. And now, the game had claimed its ultimate prize. Who would rise from the ashes of this conflagration? Who would seize the reins that Caesar had so firmly held? Antony. He spoke with fire, with a passion that ignited the grief and the rage of the crowd. His words were precise, each one a hammer blow against the conspirators. He was a lion unleashed, and his loyalty to Caesar was a beacon in the darkness. Yet a flicker of unease stirred within me. Antony was a man of ambition, of appetites. What did he truly seek in this moment of chaos? Power, yes, but for what end? To avenge Caesar? Or to become Caesar? And then Cleopatra. Her name, a whisper on the wind, a phantom limb. I knew of her, of course, the exotic queen, the siren who had held Caesar captive in her spell. Would she mourn him, truly? Or would she see this as an opportunity, a shift in the sands of power that she might exploit? She was a force, a storm in her own right, and I wondered if she, too, was watching this funeral pyre, calculating her next move. The world was a chessboard, and she was a formidable player. The future. It lay shrouded in mist, a terrifying unknown. Rome, fractured and bleeding, stood on the precipice of civil war. The Republic, that fragile ideal, was shattered beyond repair. Would Caesar's legacy be honored, or would it be trampled underfoot by the ambition of lesser men? Would my own future be one of peace, or would I be swept away by the coming storm? I looked at the pier again, at the still form of the man who had been my husband. my protector, my world. And as Antony's voice rose to a crescendo, echoing Caesar's own triumphs, I knew one thing with chilling certainty. Rome would never be the same again. And neither would I. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Brandon, and welcome to the Time Travelers Club. All right, so picture this. It's March 19th, and the air in Rome is thick with anticipation. Not just any day, mind you, but the day Julius Caesar's will is finally opened and read aloud. Everyone's there, probably whispering, wondering who the great man, the dictator perpetuo, chose to carry on his immense legacy. And then, bam, Tony, our main man, Mark Antony, is about to get the shock of his life. Because in that will, Caesar from beyond the grave does something utterly unexpected. He adopts his great-nephew, Gaius Octavius, and names him his principal heir. Now, if you're anything like Tony, you're probably thinking, so hold up, what the hell? Who the hell is this twerp? And why did Daddy Caesar choose him? And honestly, it's a fair question. This Gaius Octavius, current twerp and future big freaking deal, was only 19 years old at the time, chilling with Caesar's army in Macedonia. With that adoption, he officially became a member of Caesar's prestigious gens Julia, taking on the revered name Gaius Julius Caesar. Because, the Romans are original.
Always.
So we're not going to call him Gaius Julius Caesar because Gaius Julius Caesar just died, and that'd be really confusing. So for clarity, and to save us all a mouthful, history at this point usually calls him Octavian. While Antony did get some bequests, he certainly wasn't the chief beneficiary, and this revelation must have felt like a punch to the gut.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, that would feel like a slap to the face.
Yeah. And so we need to ask ourselves, who was this twerp Octavian anyway? So let's rewind a bit and figure out who this kid was, because he really was a kid. I think he was like 18. So we gotta love nepotism.
Yeah.
So Gaius Octavius emerged from a background that, while perfectly respectable, offered little to suggest he'd one day reshape the Roman world. His journey from seemingly minor figure to, well, a big freaking deal is a testament to his sharp mind, incredible political savvy, and, let's be honest, a healthy dose of ruthlessness when required. He was born Gaius Octavius in Rome on September 23rd, 63 BCE. His family, the Octavian gens, belonged to the equestrian rank, a wealthy and influential class just below the senatorial class. They weren't part of the ancient patrician nobility, but they were well established and prosperous, largely thanks to their big banking ventures. His paternal great-grandfather was a military tribune, and his grandfather was a banker. His father, also named Gaius Octavius, because Romans are super original,
Totally.
was the first. That's why we have to give all these people nicknames, because they have like 5 names they're allowed to use. B, like, even with those 5 names, they all managed to find a way to make them all the same. So,
exactly.
Daddy Octavian was the first of their family to break into the Roman Senate. He made him a name for himself, becoming a praetor, which is a high annual magistrate, and in 61 BCE, and later serving as a governor of Macedonia. Most people know this, or at least a lot of people know this, but Macedonia is just north of Greece. they sometimes get called like, oh, part of ancient Greece. Technically, the ancient Greeks, the Hellenes, would disagree with you. But the Macedonians think they were Greek, and that's where Alexander the Great comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe put a pin in that. Maybe that might explain some stuff about Octavian later. Anyway, so he earned a solid reputation there, and as a capable and just administrator, which, let's face it, wasn't always a given for Roman governors.
True.
Do we need to remember Bernie Sanders III? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Poor Bernie.
All of the Ptolemies, and they're not even governors there. Like,
poor Bernie.
Like, I mean, oh God, poor Bernie. So that's, we're loving this, right? It's like, okay, my dad's an administrator. Yes, he's a senator. We're not smelling rank corruption, though. Good. The bar's in hell. But good.
I mean, I don't think the bar has gotten out of hell yet.
No, but the bar definitely is in hell here. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Like, like it's kind of expected that so it's like, all right, some mild abuse of your rank is fine. Mild abuse is fine. Like just skim a little off the top. Everyone's doing it.
Good God.
So as long as you're not skimming too much. But don't get too used to Daddy Octavius, because sadly, he died suddenly in 59 BCE when young Octavius was only 4 years old. So before he could even stand for consulship. But, which, I mean, I guess I'm glad we're not making 4-year-olds consuls.
Yeah, I would say so.
Because babies don't need jobs.
Babies don't need jobs.
But something we're having a hard time learning in this country again.
Still,
like
Jesus.
the children, they crave the minds.
Children crave the minds.
Go out to our Western brethren, and you'll see what we're talking about.
No.
Yeah, because like, aren't they the ones that's like out in like Minnesota or wherever they tried passing a law? And I'm sorry, Minnesota, if this isn't you. I don't know. So I'm a bad person. I lump y'all together sometimes. But aren't they the ones who passed that whole thing where like a 14-year-old can work for mines and stuff?
You know what? I'm not 100% sure. I know that there has been several states that have been trying to pass like getting rid of like the child protection laws in terms of work, and I'm like, what the fuck?
And that was like one of the big ones. It's like those kinds of jobs. Like, think about like when we were kids. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like we've normalized this like through media. Like Sabrina, the new Sabrina that was on Netflix. It's like those teenage kids are working in their dad's mine. I don't love that.
No, I don't love that at all.
And watch that show to figure out why we don't do that. It's like first season. Like there's consequences. Satan, they live there too, apparently. But with that being said, no spoilers if you've apparently not watched this show that's been out for almost 10 years. But yeah. So back to here, because Octavian is not working in any mines. He's not a consul because he's 4. So this is where Octavian's most significant lineage comes into play, though. The one that truly set him apart. See, his mother was Atia, and she was the daughter of Marcus Aetius Balbus and Julia the Younger. Remember what we said? Mm-hmm. Women are named after dad. Mm-hmm. And then they're Julia 1s, 2, 3, and 4. So Julia was clearly a part of the Julian line. And so, who was Julia the Younger? She was the sister of everybody's daddy, Gaius Julius Caesar. So there you go. If you trace that family tree, Octavian was Julius Caesar's great nephew, his mother's brother's grandson. This might seem like a distant relationship on paper, but in the intricate world of Roman politics and family ties, it would prove to be the absolute linchpin of his entire career.
So after his father's untimely death, Octavius was primarily raised by his mother Attia and his grandmother Julia, Caesar's sister. Like most aristocratic Roman boys, he received a comprehensive... I hate pop-ups. Like most aristocratic Roman boys, he received a comprehensive education, which was pretty standard for the elite, but clearly he excelled. He was trained in both Latin and Greek, which were absolutely essential for any educated Roman. He also studied rhetoric, the art of public speaking, which was crucial for a political career under prominent tutors like Apollodorus and Pergamon, and he delved into philosophical studies too. Unlike the robust, jock-like image of many Roman generals, like our favorite jock, Tony Boy, Octavian was reportedly somewhat frail and prone to illness throughout his life. This physical predisposition might have actually pushed him to develop his intellectual and strategic strengths over mere physical prowess, a decision that would serve him incredibly well. And get this. At the tender age of 12, 51 BCE, which, oh my God, is so young. He delivered the funeral oration for his grandmother, Julia. This was an early public test of his rhetorical skills and his ability to command a public presence. And it was a hit. Like, people were crying, genuinely moved, and this performance put him squarely on the map. Everyone was wondering who this amazing kid was at freaking 12.
Yeah, and also, this is Rome. You don't cry. You get mad. That's what you're allowed to do. But only
You're
a
not
certain
allowed to
amount
get
of mad.
emotional unless it's anger.
And if you're rich, you're only allowed to get a certain amount of mad. You can only get small mad. You can't get big mad.
We actually have to quantify it.
Yeah, there's like a whole formula. I have like a whiteboard behind me where I like to calculate that.
Then in 48 BCE, he donned the toga viralis, the toga of manhood, signifying his coming of age. By 47 BCE, he was elected to the College of Pontiffs. In a culture that notoriously celebrated old dudes as the paradigm of perfection, someone being this crazy young in a position of such importance and power was unheard of. This was a significant religious office, one that Caesar himself had first held at 36.
Which was considered young then.
Yes. That is
Like,
young in terms of politics for Romans. You remember
that's
when
young
we
in
were
terms of politics now.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
if you heard that a 36-year-old became like a senator, for example, or was a member of the cabinet, like, people would convulse. Like how, he's only been on this world for 36 years. How can he know anything? Now, if he's been on the world for 40, it's different. But like, yeah, I mean, this is wild. Like, how old? Let's do the math here. How old is this kid? Like
15.
15. A 15-year-old senator. Imagine.
Oh my God.
I mean, he's not a senator. Technically, it's just the College of Pontiffs, but still, like, we're talking federal government level here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like, crazy.
So this early election was a clear sign of the recognition of his immense potential. Duh. Speaking of Caesar, while the relationship was somewhat distant, new Daddy Caesar took a growing keen interest in his great-nephew as Octavian matured, especially after our lovable jock, Tony, kind of dropped the ball there. Let's be honest. From 46 BCE onwards, Octavian became increasingly closer to Caesar, attending public events, banquets, and even participating in Caesar's triumphal procession, despite having no military experience at that point. This gave him invaluable exposure to the inner workings of Roman power and connected him to Caesar's vast network of allies and veterans. But there was something that this kid was missing: military experience. Daddy Caesar desired for Octavian to gain some real-world soldiering chops. So in 45 BCE, Octavian accompanied Caesar on his campaign in Spain against Pompey's sons. Despite being shipwrecked and having to traverse hostile territory to reach Caesar's camp, his sheer perseverance impressed his great uncle. It showed grit, something that Caesar deeply valued. By the end of 45 BCE, Caesar had sent Octavian, along with close friends like Marcus Agrippa and Maecenas, to Apollonia in Illyria, modern Albania. Ostensibly, this was to continue his academic and military training. However, it's pretty clear that Caesar had grander plans simmering in that brilliant mind of his. He intended for Octavian to join him on an upcoming major campaign against the Dacians and Parthians. And here's the kicker: Caesar had also slotted Octavian to serve as his master of the horse, second in command, for 43 or 42 BCE. This wasn't just a minor appointment. It was a clear, unmistakable indication of his intent to designate Octavian as a future successor, a true heir to his political and military might. The fact that he would do that while this kid is barely in his 20s.
Yeah, because
He
like
has
I think
machinations
at
to do so.
43
That is
BC
nuts.
is 20, period.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's insane. Also, when he's got this kid on campaign with him, there are some stories about Octavian, okay? I'm gonna throw that out there, where he calls in sick and he works from home, aka his tent. And he does have a habit of doing this. He's not a jock. He's not out there looking to get killed. Okay. That's why Agrippa is going to be his BFF Agrippa, who is he's the Antony. It's his Antony. Agrippa's going to be his Antony, his lovable jock, where if you give that boy a sword and point, he'll get the job done. Agrippa's less ambitious than Antony. You know, he's less problematic. He's just a golden retriever of a man.
So honestly, to me, that sounds like Agrippa was chosen because of that quality. Yeah. Because Caesar had so much issue with Mark Antony. Let's be real. There's some fucked upness that happened, and it threatened Caesar's power.
But Agrippa and like Octavian are genuinely good friends, and I think that the reason that is because their personalities fully mesh, right? Caesar does like combat, does like glory. Maybe from a mounted perspective, but he wants to be there.
Yeah.
And then you've got Mark Antony, who does have charisma, does have his own ambitions, right?
Yeah.
So meanwhile, Octavian really doesn't want war. Like he's not afraid of it by any means, as we're going to see, but he doesn't want to actually be there. And he's good at, he calls in sick a lot. I mean, he's still making the plans and clearly successful, but but Agrippa is like, he's ambitious in the sense that yes, he wants to do well, but not to the point where he's not interested in being the top dog.
Yeah.
He is perfectly content just being hitched to Octavian's star.
Fair enough.
And like, so it works. It works. They fill in the gaps that the other one has. So, but crazy, at 17, this kid is like leading armies.
Yeah, that shit is insane, considering they don't consider you a man until you're like 30.
Right. And like, I mean, sure, some of it could be propaganda, sure, but like, the results do speak for themselves. Like, they did win, so
Yeah.
it can't be all talk. You know, he was there. We know that. So,
Mhm.
like, if he was a
Yeah.
liability, they wouldn't have won.
Exactly. Exactly. Then came the metaphoric earthquake. When Julius Caesar was assassinated on March 15th, 44 BCE, Octavian was still in Apollonia. A relatively obscure teenager, probably studying his Latin and practicing his swordplay. The news of his great uncle's death, however, carried with it that shocking revelation we talked about earlier, the one that would fundamentally alter his life and the course of Roman history. Caesar's will explicitly named Gaius Octavius as his adopted son and principal heir. This single act transformed Octavian from a promising young aristocrat into the symbolic and legal successor of the most powerful man in Rome. It was, without a doubt, a perilous inheritance, a poisoned chalice, even, but one he immediately chose to embrace with both hands. This decision set him on an unavoidable collision course with Mark Antony and all the other ambitious contenders for power. His seemingly quiet and scholarly background would be rapidly eclipsed by his decisive actions and political genius in the chaotic, bloody years that followed.
But let's get back to our boy Tony. As we discussed last time, during dead Daddy Caesar's funeral, some serious shit had gone down. Tony had whipped the people of Rome into an absolute frenzy. And even though officially the so called liberators, those guys who went and killed Caesar there, were forgiven officially, it seemed that wasn't the popular consensus among the Roman populace. Under the pretext of not being able to guarantee their safety, Antony, ever the political operator, relieved Brutus and Cassius of their judicial duties in Rome. He assigned them the rather demeaning responsibility of procuring wheat from Rome, for Rome from Sicily and Asia. Can you imagine? Like,
Uh,
oh,
they go from
like,
having real power to being fetch boys. Oh boy.
yeah, well, it's like, okay, you're like low level bureaucrats can handle this, you know? Oh, like you went from like being one of the top players in like the federal government to essentially the guy who runs Snap. Nothing
Oof.
wrong with the guy who runs Snap. I feel like in our government, people who were maybe like chair to the House of Representatives or whatever would not be a fan if they got demoted to that.
Definitely not.
So
Definitely
yeah,
not.
yeah. Such an assignment, in addition to being utterly unworthy of their rank, would have kept them far from Rome and shifted the balance of power decisively towards Antony. Refusing such secondary duties, the two, quite wisely, traveled to Greece instead. Now, wise, I'm not sure. They think it is. They think it is.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Additionally, Cleopatra, remember her? Remember her? It's been a while. She had been in Rome this whole time with her son by dead baby daddy Caesar. And of course, neither she nor this baby were anywhere in Caesar's will, which was a total dick move, making Caesar officially deadbeat dead baby daddy Caesar. The DDBDC, if you will. You can add that to his list of titles, you know, dictator for life, deadbeat, dead, baby daddy Caesar. To the stars.
I love it though. That's hilarious.
So, You like that?
I do.
So she sensed the change in temperature, probably felt that the political winds were shifting, and decided to just get the fuck out of there. She's like, bye. Fuck y'all. So probably with an obscene gesture in the direction of Rome, and she sailed away. Deuces.
As you do.
I don't blame her.
Fuck
She's
this
like,
place.
Fuck these old white men. I'm out of here.
Tell me about it.
So, despite the provisions of Caesar's will, Antony proceeded to act as the undisputed leader of the Caesarians, because that's what we do when we don't like something. We just ignore it. Like, pretend it didn't happen. Like if a federal judge tells you to take the National Guard out of your capital, things like that. Like we just ignore it. So this included shamelessly appropriating for himself a portion of Caesar's vast fortune that rightfully belonged to Octavian. Antony also enacted the Lex Antonia, which formally abolished the dictatorship in a shrewd attempt to consolidate his support among those who opposed Caesar's dictatorial rule. So he has abolished this dictatorship. He's like, we don't need it. We're good now. And I'm going to say it's because he knew he wasn't getting it now. Right?
Yep.
So we're going to close the door behind us then. At least that's what he thinks.
It's kind of petty. Antony, you're better
Kinda
than this.
petty.
Why are we acting petty?
I mean, on the other hand, like, I guess on the surface level, it's a good thing. Like, maybe we don't need a dictatorship, but it's only because he wasn't going to get it. So he also enacted a number of laws he purported to have found in Caesar's papers, convenient, to ensure his popularity with Caesar's veterans, particularly by providing lands granted to them. Lepidus, with Antony's support, was elected. You remember Lepidus?
Mm-hmm.
Little old Lepidus. He's here he is again. He's like, hi, I'm still here, guys. He was elected, because he's not a threat, Pontifex Maximus, succeeding Caesar himself. To solidify the alliance between Antony and Lepidus, Antony's daughter, Antonia Prima, was even engaged to Lepidus' son, who was also creatively named. Can you take a guess?
Is it Lepidus?
Yes, it's Lepidus.
Oh my
God!
It was Bill. What do I win?
His name was his name was Bill.
Oh, damn.
Bubba, if you're nasty.
No. Oh, no.
Something about a horse and Cicero, and a picture of him and Cicero together. Anyway,
and there was some message about some kind of a portrait, but you know.
Yeah. So Leppy Jr. is his real name. And he's not important, so no one cares. And honestly, it doesn't matter much to the story. I just thought we'd have fun with that. So, surrounding himself with a bodyguard of over 6,000 of Caesar's veterans, Antony presented himself as Caesar's true successor, largely ignoring Octavian, who was, of course, absolutely thrilled with this development. So, because he was so thrilled, Octavian arrived in Rome in May to claim his inheritance, as was his right. Although Antony had amassed significant political support, Octavian still had a golden opportunity to rival him as the leading member of the Caesarian faction. The Senate, increasingly wary of Antony's growing power, began to view him as a new tyrant, which, I mean...
If it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, it might be a duck.
Yeah. And I'm sure they remembered the last time this dude was effectively in charge and how great that went.
Yeah.
The last 2 times he was in charge.
It was not good. Antony, this is not your
No.
role, babes. This is not your role.
Um, maybe it's different this time. We'll elect him for a 3rd term. It'll be different that time.
No.
2028. So it was Sleepy Caesar's fault. So, the emails. So Antony had also lost support of many of Caesar's staunch supporters when he opposed the motion to elevate Caesar to divine status. This was a misstep, as deifying Caesar would have only strengthened the position of his adopted son. When Antony stubbornly refused to relinquish Caesar's vast fortune to him, Octavian, with remarkable audacity for a 19-year-old, borrowed heavily to fulfill the bequests in Caesar's will to the Roman people and to his veterans. He also used these funds to establish his own bodyguard of veterans. This bold move earned him the immediate support of the Caesarian sympathizers, who hoped to use him as a means of eliminating Antony, who they saw as an obstacle. The Senate, and Cicero in particular, viewed Antony as the greater danger of the two, making Octavian a convenient, if temporary, ally. And I would almost say that if it was literally a duck, Cicero would support it over Antony.
Yes, he would.
And I almost think Cicero would support a woman at this point. Almost. I'm not.
Oh, no. I think he hates women more than he hates Antony, but Antony's up
It's
there.
getting close. It's getting close.
It might.
He might. He might. I don't know. But also, let's be real. Octavian is far more relatable to him.
Well, also, he sees Octavian as young and malleable.
Oh,
you have to figure the way that they view not only women, but those that are younger. They view them as tools to be used and to be molded. They are clay. Use them as you will.
And it helps that Octavian is a lot like Cicero. He's an intellectual. He's not one to fight so much, but he's a powerful speaker. It's the pen is mightier than the sword mentality. And as we'll get to know with Octavian, I don't think hates women as much as Cicero.
God, I hope not.
But yeah, the verdict's out on whether Octavian likes strong women or not. We'll get there. We'll get there. So with that being, he definitely views them as baby factories, but we'll get there. So in the summer of 44 BCE, Antony was in a truly difficult political position. He could either denounce the liberators, Caesar's murderers, and alienate the Senate, or he could maintain his support for the compromise and risk betraying Caesar's legacy, thereby strengthening Octavian's position. In either case, his situation as the de facto ruler of Rome would be severely weakened. The Roman historian Cassius Dio later recorded that while Antony was consul, maintains the advantage in the relationship. The general affection of the Roman people was undeniably shifting to Octavian due to his powerful status as Caesar's adopted son.
Also, the fact that he actually paid them what they were given in Caesar's will.
And we have to think about the propaganda that's going around, little whisper campaigns, right? Not full smear campaigns, but it's just whispers. Like, did you hear that time that Antony had a chariot pulled by lions? And there's like this other guy in the back who's like, how the hell do you get a lion to pull a chariot? Anyway, but so yeah, and he's also dating an actress. Oh, I've met her. She seems like, shut up, Bill.
She's a whore.
God. This is why no one invites you to the parties. But like there is that going on. The whisper campaign. Oh, remember the last time he had that government? Remember the last time? Also, he's kind of drunk all the time. Like, also, like, it's in the will. We all know the will. If he loves Caesar so much, why is he ignoring the will?
Mm-hmm.
If he loves Caesar so much, why does he not want to deify him? You know,
If
it's a
he's
bad
truly
look.
loyal,
It's
why is he doing this?
right. And then on the flip side, the Senate is in. It's not like in the later Empire where it's just like a vestigial limb where you have to stay face with them so that you, as the emperor, can do what you want. They are the governing body at this point, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, um, it's one of those. But at the same time, these are people who do not like you. They are the Ciceros. They are old white men, and you are a hot hunk who likes to run around naked and has made their life hell for the last 5-6 years.
Ta-da!
So yeah, he's in a bad way.
Yeah.
So supporting the senatorial faction against Antony, Octavian in September 44 BCE encouraged the eminent senator Marcus Tullius Cicero, which I'm sure did not take much convincing, to launch a scathing attack on Antony in a series of speeches famously known as the Philippics, portraying him as the grave threat to the Republic. I mean, now it's, Cicero's turn to say less. I really need you to make some speeches like against Antony. Say less. Like, can you make sure like you are really leaning in on like lions and stuff? Say less. I said I'd do it. So he's like, I slipped on that semen in the party. I'm over it. With his balls out. So the humanity. And he's with actresses and Fulvia. So the risk of civil war between Antony and Octavian grew exponentially at this point. Octavian continued to recruit Caesar's veterans to his side away from Antony, with 2 of Antony's legions even defecting by November of 44 BCE. At that time, Octavian was still only a private citizen. He lacked any legal authority to command the Republic's armies, making his command technically illegal. But details. Legality was just a minor thing in these chaotic times, right?
Totally.
Like, what is legal at this point? Half of this shit ain't legal. The dictatorship hadn't been legal. Like, the crap that Anthony's been doing isn't legal. He's ignoring the will. That's illegal. What?
Here's the
like
thing.
Today,
Legal,
what's legality?
law, things of that nature. It is part of the social contract. When you have dismantled and ignored the social contract in the 10 years prior to this,
right.
Legality has no meaning. It is a meaningless word. It is like telling somebody that you love them over and over and over again, but not behaving as if you do. It becomes a meaningless phrase, a meaningless thing.
Right. It's kind of like, when a judge tells you can't occupy certain spaces with your military force, but you do anyway. Mm-hmm. Like you bomb boats without any evidence anyway. Yeah. When you accept gifts from other nations, like big old jets and shit, even though you're not supposed to do that constitutionally anyway.
But you do it anyway. Yeah.
Right.
Just like that. I wonder where we can find some modern examples.
People without any warrants.
Or due process.
And ship them off to camps in another country. Or remove citizenship, even though that's something that's covered by your constitution. Anyway, what's legal,
What is legal? The social contract has been broken, people. Get to it.
When
hop.
When, like, just one more. Like, when you have you stand against pedophilia and like the human trafficking of young people, but then you were also complicit in those things. And there might even be a picture of you doing something dirty with someone who's supposed to be on the other side of your political spectrum. And you're not supposed to release that information to the public, but you don't.
Oh, Bill.
Oh, Bubba. Oh, Bill. Maybe it's a
So,
horse.
maybe, nay.
I don't know if that makes it better.
It doesn't. It doesn't. So, with popular opinion in Rome turning against him and his consular term nearing its end, Antony desperately attempted to secure a favorable military assignment to gain an army to protect himself. The Senate, as was custom, assigned Antony and Dolabella to the provinces of Macedonia and Syria respectively to govern in 43 BCE, after their consular terms expired. Antony, however, objected to this assignment, preferring to govern Cisalpine Gaul, which was already controlled by a guy with the incredible middle name Decimus, one of Caesar's assassins. When Decimus stubbornly refused to surrender his province, this gave Antony the green light, and he marched north in December 44 BCE with his remaining soldiers to take the province by force, besieging Decimus at Mutina. Well, is this where we get mutiny from?
Probably not. I think this is what becomes, I could be wrong, like Mantua later. But yeah. But I gotta say that name. I want every time we say his name, you're like, when Decimus stubbornly refused.
Yes.
Decimus.
Put a little stank on it.
A deep baritone, like the guy who plays like the president in like Rick and Morty. Decimus. Like
Decimus.
He plays like Husk on like Has Been Hotel. What's that guy?
Gotcha. So the Senate, led by a fiery Cicero, quickly denounced Antony's actions and declared him an enemy of the state.
Well, I mean, to be fair, back to modern times, when you bring an army and occupy an area that does not belong to you, like, I don't know, California, people frown upon it. When you besiege cities, especially when there's cities, A, that someone else is in charge of, but B, are your own people.
Yep. Just
not a good look.
No, and I know grief makes people do stupid things, but this is the height of stupidity.
But is this grief at this point? We're going on a year. And also,
grief has no timeline. We're gonna erase that.
But I think that in this case, right, this doesn't read as grief-stricken person.
Mm-hmm.
This is all calculated. It reads desperate for sure. But he's been pretty calculated up until this point, Mm-hmm. And let's be fair, he doesn't want to share shit with Dolabella.
Doesn't want to share with Dolabella, doesn't want to share with Octavius, doesn't want to share with nothing.
If he gets pushed out to Syria or Macedonia even, that's really far out. If he gets put in Macedonia, hello, that's where Octavian's from.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets put in Syria, which is on the eastern edge, he's only got like one choice.
Yeah.
Go invade Parthia, which we've already discussed is usually a suicide mission. Yeah. Or just fade into obscurity, one or the other.
He should have allowed himself to take a break and give up the reins to the younger generation, because I promise you he would have had an easier time doing so.
Well, that's what happens when you're ambitious, folks. Because if he wouldn't be in this situation if he had been like that, we wouldn't be talking about Antony. He would have been like, an Agrippa or, but see, Agrippa had the decency to die before Octavian. Mm-hmm. And it's not really a spoiler because we're not going to talk about that like in this story because it doesn't pertain to it. But like he had the decency to pass away before his BFF.
Yeah.
Whereas Antony didn't have that decency to die before the old man he was friends with. So
Yeah.
this is what happens.
So, ratifying Octavian's extraordinary command on January 1st, 43 BCE, the Senate dispatched him along with the consuls, Hirtius and Pansa, to defeat Antony and his exhausted 5 legions. Antony's forces were defeated at the Battle of Mutina. Yeah, I can't see it any other way. It's got to be Mutina. Mutiny. Mutina. In 43 BCE, forcing Antony to retreat to the Transalpine Gaul. Both consuls, Hirtius and Pansa, were killed in the fighting. However, leaving Octavian in sole command of their combined armies, some 8 legion. This was a massive, unexpected boost to his military power.
Which, to me, a little suspicious. I don't know.
I mean, maybe their
it's
coffee
war.
had something bad in it. Well, they didn't have coffee. They would have had maybe tea.
Their wine. Something in the wine.
Something in the wine.
But, like, it seems suspicious. No facts, just vibes.
No facts, just vibes. So, with Antony temporarily defeated, the Senate, ever trying to restore its authority, assigned command of the legions in the northern Italy to Decimus. Sextus Pompey, son of Caesar's old rival, Pompey Magnus, was given command of the Republic's fleet from his base in Sicily, while Brutus and Cassius were granted the governorships in Macedonia and Syria, respectively. These appointments were a clear attempt to renew the Republican cause and diminish the Caesarian faction. However, the 8 legions serving under Octavian, composed largely of Caesar's fiercely loyal veterans, flat out refused to follow one of Caesar's murderers, allowing Octavian to retain his command and his formidable army. Meanwhile,
I mean, makes sense.
It does. It really does.
I don't know what they expected.
Well, these old ass men who needed to be retired a long time ago, they have this thing where, oh, the spot is free. No one is sitting in the seat. I'm going to go sit in the seat.
Well, to be fair, Brutus wasn't like that old. I can't speak for Cassius. Brutus wasn't necessarily that old. I think he was a contemporary of like Mark Antony's, right? The point is these rich oligarchs, right? That's really, age doesn't matter the age. They don't know what it's like at this point. They can't read the room. They're so disconnected from the public. They just don't understand why these people are mad. Why are you mad that we killed this guy you worked for and fought next to and watched your comrades die, yet this guy was there through all of that for 10 years? Why are you mad we killed him?
Yep.
We told you it was for a good reason.
They are entirely too cerebral, but lacking any actual common sense.
And that's the problem.
That is the problem.
That's the problem right there. And I would almost say that Antony's the opposite of this.
Yes.
He's not cerebral. Like, it's not that he is smart and he does do good things, but he is very, when it comes down to the nitty gritty, he relies on instinct. And very I will give Octavian the credit. He is very good at both reading the room and analyzing that quickly to do something smart. That's what makes him dangerous.
I think he kind of inherited that from Caesar, to be honest.
Right.
I really think he did, because Caesar also had that ability to juggle both.
Yeah.
It's just,
and like, he was very good at the oh shit moments.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, we talk about brilliance and stuff like that, but his most successful stories are like the oh shit moments. When he was facing off with Vercingetorix and oh shit, there's a second army coming up from behind us. Quick, build another wall. Like, and managed to do it. Oh shit, Pompey's escaped. We have to do this crossing. He could have all fallen apart, but managed to know in the last minute how to fucking salvage that. When he's in Egypt, And oh shit, I might kind of be a prisoner here. We need to get the hell out of here. And,
Yep.
and he didn't plan for that civil war, to be a part of that, but he managed in the moment to figure it out. So, like, yeah, some of it's instinctual, but it's still well thought out.
Oh, absolutely. And
And
I have to wonder if
he's
these
good in a
guys,
crisis.
he's very good in crisis. And I wonder if he was ADHD, honestly.
No proof, just vibes, but yeah.
No proof, just vibes. But no,
But I would say
we
Octavian
see
takes
that
it to another
today.
level because
Yeah.
Octavian, as we're going to see, he's not above doing the underhanded shit.
Mm-hmm.
Caesar could, but for the most part was a pretty honorable guy.
Mm-hmm.
It was all about. So he would be like, I'm going to show you mercy, join my side. Of course, it was manipulative and underhanded, but like he was going to be a man of his word. He's not going to kill you.
He would give you a way out.
Mm-hmm. Octavian will give you a way out and then still kill you quietly.
Well, sometimes it's best to play pretend, be nice, and then remove the piece from the board.
Which might explain why he lives so long, and doesn't end up getting stabbed.
Exactly. We
Because
learn from the mistakes of our past.
Right. So, like, we don't leave these guys around.
No.
So,
leave it around, it's going to come back to haunt you.
They go to Starvation Island. They die in battle, and you just happen to get their legions.
Yep. So, meanwhile, Antony, ever the survivor, recovered his position by joining forces with Marcus Aemilius. Mr. Lepidus, who had been assigned the governorship of Transalpine Gaul and nearer Spain. Antony sent Lepidus to Rome to broker a conciliation. Though he was an ardent Caesarian, Lepidus had maintained friendly relations with the Senate and even the Sextus Pompey.
Because he's just a lovable guy.
He's
is. Like, I'm happy to help, guys.
I'm just here to help. Let's go for peace. His legions, however, quickly joined Antony, giving him control over 17 legions, making his the largest army in the West.
It's kind of a dick thing to do. Poor Lepidus. Like, I just thought, he's like, okay, I'll go over and help them. Thanks, buddy. All right, guys, you want to join up and fuck up these nerds? Yeah. Poor Lepidus.
Swirlies for days. So, by mid-May, Octavian, seeing the writing on the wall and the growing power of Antony and Lepidus, began secret negotiations to form an alliance with Antony. The goal was clear: unify the Caesarians against the Liberators. Remaining in Cisalpine Gaul, Octavian dispatched emissaries to Rome in 43 BCE in July, demanding that he be appointed consul to succeed the deceased Hirtius and Pansa, and that the Senate rescind the decree declaring Antony a public enemy.
Which, Hirtius and Pansa dying, starting to become more and more convenient, just saying.
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't know.
When the Senate, in its dwindling authority, refused, Octavian, with characteristic decisiveness, marched on Rome with his 8 legions and assumed control of the city in August of 43 BCE. Octavian had himself irregularly elected consul with a cousin, rewarded his loyal soldiers, and then immediately set about prosecuting Caesar's murderers. Under the Lex Petia, all of the conspirators and Sextus Pompey were convicted in absentia and declared public enemies. Then, at the instigation of Lepidus, Octavian went to Cisalpine Gaul to meet Antony.
So, I just want to say this too. What a power move. And on the surface, it's like, wow, that's cool. Like, he's getting back at Caesar's enemies. Justice is going to be served. And then you have this undernote. Why didn't Antony do that in the first place?
And I think...
And that
And
what
I
the
have
whisper snip
to
is
I
going to
have to
be.
think. With Antony already has a firm hand in terms of being very extrajudicial, right?
Mhm.
We already know that he will set the army on the Roman people. We know
Yep.
this. He's done it. If he had done that, that would just prove them right.
Well, and the thing is, this is a master class here, right? Octavian is very good at reading the room.
Yep.
He provides them an out. He goes, hey, go ahead and maybe we not celebrate these people who stabbed someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, also, maybe you make me consul. Also, maybe we, and it looks good on the surface. Like the Antony, he and I have some beef, but I'm the offended party here. I'm willing to put this to the side.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like a voice of reason, so that's step A.
Yep.
Um, step 2. When they will refuse, because he knows they're going to. Now he's going to march on Rome. Well, just like Julius Caesar did, because that's what happened. Try to be reasonable. Allow us to come to terms. Nope, said the Senate, because they can't read the room. So again, people are going to see this and it's going to feel like deja vu. But they know how that story ended.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think they're going to support? Not the Senate.
Nope. Our poor
But
Octavian.
right. And so he doesn't need to sick the dogs on them.
Nope.
He doesn't need to do all that. He's put those people in the corner. He looked like he was trying to be reasonable. And he's invoking his, the recently departed Caesar, who's
Mm-hmm.
pretty beloved at this point. And then to really cap it off, he's going to do what Antony, quote unquote, Antony should have done in the first place. We understand that Antony probably wouldn't have been able to do this. It was a different vibe, it was a different environment. But at this point, it's been over a year since Caesar died.
Yeah.
The details are already being forgotten.
Yeah.
And so it's starting to look like, wow, Octavian did what Antony should have done in the first place.
Exactly.
And so it just on every level, he's looking like Caesar's successor. He's looking like the better option. And it's quiet, it's subtle. And you damn well know Antony's so pissed about this, but he knows he can't do anything.
Well,
Because
what
he
would he do?
extended the olive branch to him.
Mm-hmm. What would he do?
Like,
if he smacks the olive branch out of his hands, he becomes the bad guy.
Yeah. But at the same time, letting this kid just get away with this, like do this, undermines him too.
Oh, absolutely.
And
He's fucked either way.
Embraces his star.
He is so fucked either way. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
In November 43 BCE, Octavian, Lepidus, and Antony finally met near Bononia, modern Bologna. After 2 days of intense, probably tense, discussions, the group agreed to establish a 3-man dictatorship to govern the Republic for 5 years. This arrangement is known to modern historians as the Second Triumvirate. They shared military command of the Republic's armies and provinces among themselves. Antony received Gaul, Lepidus Spain, and Octavian, as the junior partner for now, Africa. They jointly governed Italy. The Triumvirate still had to conquer the rest of Rome's holdings. Brutus and Cassius held the eastern Mediterranean, and Sextus Pompey held the Mediterranean islands. On November 27th, 43 BCE, the Triumvirate was formally established by a new law, the Lex Titia, granting them immense, almost autocratic powers. Octavian and Antony reinforced their alliance through Octavian's marriage to Antony's stepdaughter, Claudia, a strategic union to bind them together.
Because when in doubt, force your daughters and stepdaughters to marry each other. So,
I have a comment and it's terrible. Don't judge me for this. When in doubt, give them a wormhole.
oh.
I'm terrible. I'm sorry. That is what
So,
comes to mind. Unfortunately, because that's all they viewed their daughters as.
yeah.
And I hate it.
And God forbid they tell you, no, you cannot just use my wormhole. I want agency over that orifice. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Uh,
Commence the
then you
beating.
end up like, yep. So the primary objective of the triumvirate was singular and brutal: avenge Caesar's death and wage war upon his murderers. Before marching against Brutus and Cassius in the east, the triumvirs issued prescriptions against their enemies in Rome. So we're back to that, guys.
Damn
If
it.
you remember, the dictator Sulla had taken similar horrifying action to purge Rome of his opponents decades before. The proscribed were named on a public list, stripped of citizenship, and outlawed. I'm just pausing here because I want you guys to think about that one for a minute and how we could not relate to that here in today,
Not at all in any way, shape, or form.
and how we've learned that that's a dangerous, slippery slope. Anyway, their wealth and property were confiscated by the state, and substantial rewards were offered to anyone who secured their arrest or death. Another long pause for that one. With such encouragements, the prescription produced deadly results. 2,000 equites were executed, and a third of the Senate.
Oh my god.
Learn from history. Antony, in a particularly cruel move, forced Octavian to give up Cicero. Now, here we go, boys and girls. A personal enemy of Antony and a friend of Octavian. This is the man who has given us so much grief. Let's remember all the good times we had with Cicero for a minute, shall we, Courtney?
Are we doing like a montage
Remember,
flashback?
yes, it's time.
It's
It's that
time.
time during the Oscars where we show all our dearly departed.
Oh
Good
god.
memories.
Good memories. All I imagine is a stank face while he's writing in his diary as he's describing what he sees. The bulging muscles and the oiled up, and he's got his balls hanging out.
And that time that bitch didn't told me I could borrow her book and then never gave it to me. I hope
I was
they don't
trying
end
to
up
be
together.
neutral.
So let's take a moment to remember the good times. Like, remember that time he completely overthrew due process to a group of conspirators and just had them choked in a pit? Or maybe we remember that time where he was at that party, and then because Cleopatra had promised to let him borrow a book and then forgot, he totally wrote an entire smear campaign about her.
What a bitch.
Or that time that he totally sat in the Senate as Caesar was getting stabbed to death and decided to just book it instead. Or that time where he wrote that an entire hate like book. By January 42 BCE, the prescriptions had ended. It had lasted 2 months, and though less bloody perhaps than Sulla's, it traumatized Roman society. A number of those named and outlawed had fled to either Sextus Pompey in Sicily or to the liberators in the east, seeking refuge. The Senate officially deified Caesar as the divine Julius and confirmed Antony's position as the high priest, further cementing the legitimacy of their cause. Due to the infighting within the triumvirate during 43 BCE, Brutus and Cassius had assumed control of much of Rome's eastern territory and amassed a large army. But before the triumvirate could cross the Adriatic into Greece, they had to address an immediate threat posed by Sextus Pompey and his formidable fleet. From his base in Sicily, Sextus raided the Italian coast and blockaded the triumvirate's supply lines. Remember what happened last time?
Mm-hmm.
This, there, we know that if you cut off the supply lines to Rome, it goes downhill quick.
Yes, it does.
And I think Mark Antony more than anyone knows what the results of that are going to be. So they're right. You have to get rid of this guy if you're going to do anything. Octavian's friend and admiral, Quintus Salvadinus. Okay. Octavian's friend and admiral, Quintus Salvadinus Rufus, thwarted an attack by Sextus against the southern Italian mainland at Rhegium. But Salvadinus was then defeated in the resulting naval battle because of the inexperience of his crews. Only when Antony arrived with his second fleet was the blockade finally broken. Though the blockade was defeated, control of Sicily remained firmly in Sextus' hands, but the defeat of the liberators was the triumphant's first and most pressing priority. Like, we'll worry about this guy later. He's boxed in at Sicily. He ain't going nowhere. We got supplies coming in again. We got bigger fish to fry.
Exactly.
So in the summer of 42 BCE, Octavian and Antony sailed for Macedonia to face the liberators with 19 legions. The vast majority of their army, approximately 100,000 regular infantry, plus supporting cavalry and irregular auxiliary units, leaving Rome under the administration of Lepidus. Because we know Lepidus is a reliable guy.
He
ain't gonna cause no problem. I feel like Lepidus deserves better. Like, we're making fun of him, but
no,
he's not drama.
A good guy. He's a
yeah,
good
like,
guy.
Oh, what a dummy. He knows how to run a government with competence and doesn't start problems, and he can lead armies and not dick swing all the time.
You know what? There is something to be said about a boring leader. I don't need my leaders to be, incredibly charismatic and charming and everything like that. I need them to get the fucking job done. This guy
the thing is,
gets the job done.
Yeah, right. And to be fair, he has to have some charisma or charm, right? Because he wouldn't be where he was if he was totally unlikable or anything. I just don't think he's like a megalomaniac. He's willing to like actually get shit done, do good by the people, and not super problematic.
What a strange concept.
That's boring. That doesn't make good storytelling. So
it happens.
Yeah. So, but at any case, Lepidus is being left to babysit Rome because Antony's like, fuck that. Likewise, the army of the liberators also commanded an army of 19 legions. But their legions, however, were not at full strength, while the legions of Antony and Octavian were. And as we remembered with Pompey, doesn't matter if you have more soldiers. If they're not experienced,
it ain't worth it.
And also, so at this point, they're essentially 1-to-1, which are not as favorable as Pompey. So I think we know where this is going.
Yep.
But so while the triumvirs command a larger number of infantry, the liberators command a larger cavalry contingent. The liberators controlled Macedonia, did not wish to engage in decisive battle because they know they'd lose. They preferred to attain a good defensive position and use their naval superiority to block the triumvirs' communications with their supply base in Italy. They had spent the previous months plundering Greek cities to swell their war chest and gathered in Thrace with the Roman legions from the eastern provinces and levies from Rome's client kingdoms.
Brutus and Cassius held a position on the high ground along both sides of the Via Egnatia, west of the city of Philippi. The south position was anchored to a supposedly impassable marsh, while the north was bordered by impervious hills. They had plenty of time to fortify their position with a rampart and a ditch, making it a formidable defensive stronghold. Brutus put his camp on the north while Cassius occupied the south of the Via Egnatia. Antony arrived shortly thereafter and positioned his army on the south of the Via Egnatia, while Octavian put his legions north of the road. Antony, ever the aggressive general, offered battle several times, but the liberators were not lured to leave their strong defensive stand. Thus, Antony tried to secretly outflank the Brutus and Cassius positions through the marshes in the south. This provocative maneuver led to a pitched battle on October 3rd, 42 BCE. Antony commanded the triumvirate's army due to Octavian's sickness on that day, with Antony directly controlling the right flank opposite Cassius. Oh, what a hell of a day to have a sick day. Okay.
Uh-huh. It's a pattern. He knows Anthony's got this.
Damn it, Octavius. Because of his health, Octavian remained in camp while his lieutenants assumed a position on the left flank opposite Brutus. In the resulting First Battle of Philippi, Antony, demonstrating his military prowess, decisively defeated Cassius and captured his camp. Meanwhile, on the other flank, Brutus overran Octavian's troops and penetrated into the triumvir's camp, but was unable to capture the sick Octavian, who was likely moved to safety. The battle was...
I'm just saying...
Yeah.
So I'm just saying... For being sick, he knew how to get the fuck out of Dodge.
Yeah? But the battle was, in essence, a tactical draw. But due to poor communications and a tragic misunderstanding, Cassius, believing that the battle was a complete defeat and that Brutus had also lost, committed suicide to prevent being captured.
It's dark, but at the same time, like, this is, like, again, showing that Roman, this is the way out kind of thing.
Yeah.
We should probably, with some of these episodes, start putting, like, warnings at the beginning.
Trigger warnings?
Because I do know people... Well, I mean, some people are sensitive to this kind of thing.
Yes.
And so we don't mean to be like that, guys. And we're not laughing that he committed suicide. We're laughing that, like, the irony of the situation. Like, more dark humor. But, yeah, it's not looking good. It's not looking good for the liberators.
Oh, definitely not. So Brutus, now assuming the sole command of the army, preferred a war of attrition over open conflict, hoping to wear down the triumvirs. His officers, however, were dissatisfied with these defensive tactics, and his Caesarian veterans, eager for decisive action, threatened to defect. This internal pressure forced Brutus to give battle at the Second Battle of Philippi on October 23rd. While the battle was initially evenly matched, Antony's superb leadership ultimately routed Brutus's forces. Brutus, facing utter defeat, committed suicide the day after the battle, and the remainder of his army swore allegiance to the triumvirate. Over 50,000 Romans died in these two brutal battles, a testament to the scale of the conflict. While Antony treated the losers mildly, demonstrating a measure of clemency, Octavian, perhaps still smarting from his own near capture and driven by a cold ambition, dealt cruelly with his prisoners and even ordered Brutus's corpse to be beheaded. The battles of Philippi definitively ended the civil war in favor of the triumvirs. With the defeat and deaths of Brutus and Cassius, only Sextus Pompey and his fleet remained to challenge the triumvirate's absolute control of the Roman world.
This right here, this is the difference between Octavian and Caesar, right? Antony is trying to channel his Caesar here. Granted, we know that Antony was doing this kind of stuff before, he met Caesar, like his Egyptian campaigns and stuff. I think it's just kind of, and then Caesar really kind of like cemented that. It's like once the enemy's beaten and the leaders are gone, you have the opportunity to be the gracious one, right?
Yeah.
Octavian, though, is not Caesar.
No.
And he's young. He is young. And he is probably salty. He's humiliated. You called in sick? And because you called in sick, you're half lost, sort of. And it was only because of Antony y'all even got through this. And then Antony had to be the one to come in and clean up and finish what you couldn't finish. Yeah, he's bitter. And on the flip side, right, he's not looking to leave these enemies alive.
No.
These are people who will literally stab you in the back. No. So I'm not saying I don't know. I've never been in a position where I've had to determine whether people live or die, especially large amounts of people. I don't know who had the better tactic here. Morally, I lean, of course, towards Antony. Like you don't kill unnecessarily if you don't have to. But politically, I can maybe understand where Octavian's coming from. But right here, right? This is where we see that he's not just little Caesar. He's not making pizza.
Had that for dinner last night. But yes,
he's serving up revenge. So, and it's best served cold.
I see.
So, but this right here is honestly beautifully encapsulates Octavian and his career, especially this early part right here. So, the victory at Philippi left the members of the triumvirate as the undisputed masters of the Republic, save for Sextus Pompey in Sicily. But they'll get to him later. Upon returning to Rome, the triumvirate repartitioned rule of Rome's vast provinces amongst themselves, as you do, with Antony clearly emerging as the senior partner. I mean, he is the reason they won.
Yep.
He received the largest distribution, governing all, because again, give that boy a sword, man.
Yep.
He'll get the job done. So, he would end up governing all the eastern provinces, while remarkably retaining Gaul in the west. So let's just paint a map in our heads, right? He's got control of what today is Belgium, France, parts of like Austria and the Alps, Switzerland, going down into Italy, and then Greece, the Levant, Syria. So he's got that whole swatch of right there. Macedonia going up into the Black Sea and the Caucasus. So that's a lot. And then, so for Octavian, though still the junior, significantly improved because he was there at the battle, he received Spain, which was taken from Lepidus. God, poor Lepidus.
Poor Lepidus. My God.
He's just this good boy. He's like, okay, guys, I'll stay behind and hold the fort down. And they're like, thanks for holding the fort down. We're taking this. Thanks. They take his soldiers. They take Spain. But hey, okay, so Lepidus doesn't get nothing. All right. So he gets to have Africa. All right. Not the whole continent, mind you, right? It's going to be parts of like Morocco, going into like Tunisia. So like northern Africa, stopping, of course, at Egypt, right? Because we don't own that yet. Because if we owned Egypt, that would be a hell of a prize. But we're not there yet. So from a economic and political standpoint, he kind of gets the rump. Not that the cultures of North Africa are the rump, not at all. But when you are, it's on the edges of your empire.
Yeah.
And these are more deserted locations. They aren't resource rich yet, you know. They have resources, don't get me wrong, otherwise they wouldn't have them. But like when you think about Spain with all their silver mines and Gaul, then just straight up the amount of land that Antony has, Gaul, all those forests and timber and resources there. And then the rich area was the east, Greece, Syria, the Levant. That's where you're getting your spices. That's where you're getting all your exotic goods, myrrh, all of that.
Yep.
Like, so that's where
Antony's
we're at.
making out like a bandit.
Absolutely. And poor Lepidus kind of gets left holding his own dick. So
a little bit.
So, and then comes the last part. Rule over Italy remained undivided. So Italy, in theory, they all have control of, right?
Mm-hmm.
But these aren't territories, right? So they're allowed to like extract wealth from all these other areas because they're provinces, right? They're territories, so to speak. Italy itself, Rome proper, you can't extract the wealth like that.
No, because the people have rights.
So that's politically, if you control it, of course, that's great. That's why they all have to, because you're not getting the wealth, but politically, that's why you want it. So that's why they all have to share it equally. But Octavian was assigned the difficult and unpopular task of demobilizing the vast number of veterans and providing them with land distribution in Italy. That task would cause him considerable headaches. He's going to be taking a lot of sick days.
Oh, God.
Antony assumed direct control of the East, while he installed one of his lieutenants as the ruler of Gaul. Because, I mean, it is a large territory.
Yeah.
He has different problems. During his absence, several of his key supporters held crucial positions in Rome to protect his interests there, setting the stage for the next chapter of Roman power struggles. And that, dear listeners, is where we will leave you for this time.
If you like what you heard today, please give us a positive review on whatever platform you listen to this podcast on. It goes a long way for us to appease the algorithm gods and get this suggested to others just like you. The more that we can connect to our fellow history nerds, the more that we can build up a community and keep this show going.
Also, we have a Patreon where you can hang out with us and get exclusive content like videos where we might try and make ancient recipes, talk about topics that couldn't fit here in the main arcs of the podcast, and generally being batshit and dumpster fires, all for the price of a latte per month. Research materials and books costs a lot of money, and it takes a lot of time to create this show, so anything you provide would be a huge help.
We can't wait to see you again next week, and as always, thanks for listening.
Bye for now.
Bye, guys.